They do, but yeah, no, Florida State able to flip Brock Glenn. This has kind of been in the works for a little while now. Already once Brock Glenn committed, I did not think that was going to be the end all be all for him with Ohio State, with the quarterback they already have in that class being one of the most talented, if not the most talented, in 2023. But, Coach Tokars, along with Mike Norvell, did a really good job of staying in contact with Brock all throughout his senior season. That's ended, and now, Florida State put on the field some really good stuff, I think. And you're bringing in a guy like Hakeem Williams, 5-star wide receiver. That already attracts you right away with Florida State building that upfront trenches with Coach Atkins, like we talked about earlier. This just makes sense. Florida State had Chris Parson in the fold. You lose Chris Parson, you tried to find some answers, and you had Brock Glenn on with a visit, and you felt like things went very well there, and they absolutely did. The family felt really nice and comfortable here, but end up picking Ohio State. This is a talented guy. This is not a, we're not going to be. There's a guy in the 2024 class that you really want to hold on to, and that's Luke Kromenhoek. That's your game changer, and that's what you thought a couple years ago that you would have with Luke Altmaier. You lose him to Ole Miss. There's a whole lot there. Florida State has gone through like a quarterback recruiting carousel and nightmares, but this one. From what I'm hearing, this is a really nice, solid commitment that they'll hold on to in that 2023 class. We'll see if they want to do anything in the transfer portal. It's all going to depend on Jordan Travis, what he wants to do. But a nice pickup for Florida State and trying to build that offense for the future. But he's a guy he's a good quarterback. This is a good quarterback that you can bring in and to develop. And if you see what Coach Tokars and Norvell were able to do with Jordan Travis in this last offseason and see him develop, then bringing in a guy like this with a good quarterback, that excites you to potentially raise that roof to being a damn good quarterback. So a lot to like.
Very quickly, before we get to our predictions, how much of this was Florida State sticking with Brock, sticking with trying to get him to flip after he was committed to Ohio State? How much of it was that, or how much of it do you attribute this to Florida State's success on the field? We talked about this before the season. Florida State would have to have a good year to be able to get some solid recruits. How much of this is Florida State's success on the field, or how much of this was Florida State sticking with him during this process?
It was a mix of definitely both. Florida State, from what I was told, no matter what, if he were to commit to Ohio State, they would stay, in very close contact. And they've been that way with a few other players. And this one, that right there did its job. And then you look at Florida State and its progress, and the improvement into the season has been huge, winning some big games, and it makes sense for this to happen. And even if Ohio State, if they were looking at wanting to move on from quarterback, or even if Brock Glenn was testing waters and then listening more to Florida State, either way, what they did this year on the field helps a ton. And like I said, when you're building the trenches, everything outside of that will take care of itself. And you're able to grab Hakeem Williams not too long ago. And, Florida State too, what they're bringing in already in that 2023 class and that wide receiver room, I'm super excited for. Vidarius Jacobs too is someone that we don't really talk about a ton, but Florida State's got a wide receiver room going into 2023 that should make you want to yell F yeah. Like, it's unbelievable. It's very exciting. Definitely, you look at Johnny Wilson, Micah Pittman, you bring back those two guys. I could just keep on rambling on, but yeah, Florida State's wide receiver room should excite any quarterback that has any brain.